Hi everyone, I'm going to continue the series of the Daf Yomi today, the daily page. We are in Masechet Nedarim, tractate Nedarim, in Daf Masechet, that is page number 68 respectively. Here I am in my office, also a study area. I will relate over something. So these are pages, dafim, inside the Gemara, which have little text to the Talmud itself, but there's a lot of explanation. I consider these more on the difficult spectrum of the Talmud, which we are dealing with today, in my personal opinion. So let's talk about it today. So in yesterday's daf, we spoke all about the Na'ara Me'orasa. So what is this? Over there we spoke about a 12-year-old girl who is engaged. Remember, back in the day, in the Talmudic times, it was much more prevalent. People would get married or engaged at younger ages. Obviously, in most of the countries, it's against the law now, and correctly so in the cases, which we must point out straight away. It's against the law and correctly so. And we talked about an Na'ara Me'orasa. She can have her vows annulled through the joint agreement of both her father and the husband, respectively. And we spoke about the rules about Hafarat Nedarim, not Hatarat Nedarim, Hafarat Nedarim. And that appears at the end of Sefer Bamidbar, I believe in the Parshat of Matot and Masechet, which we learned about 4 or 5 months back. And in those Parshot, it speaks about the father's right to annul the vows and the husband's right also to annul the vows, which the Nedarim, that my case. And this specific case was not mentioned. So we asked ourselves, what's the source of the law within regards to Hafarat Nedarim and all of this, within regards to can a husband do it? Can the father do it? Who is it? It could be the husband is engaged to her at that point in time. Has he got right? So the Gemara offers possible sources for the Makorim. On this specific daf on Masechet, we find a teaching from the Bet Midrash of Rabbi Ishmael, one of the great rabbis in the times of the Talmud, inside a study hall in the Bet Midrash. So what did he say? He suggested, Rabbi Ishmael, inside there, that the source is the very last pasuk of the parsha in Bamidbar, in the pasuk in chapter number 30, in pasuk number 17. Now the pasuk itself, the verse says, specifically concludes and says the term, I'll say it in Hebrew, Ben ish leishto, Ben av lebito, Ben ure'eha bet aviha. Okay, so what is this basically? That these rules of Hafarat Nedarim apply to situations between a husband and wife, between a father and a daughter, also the bat itself, while she is living in her father's house. So this is what it clearly states inside the pasuk. I just conclude with what Rashi, how he clarifies this. He explains that this closing passage is not necessarily, since the Torah clearly had stated that those relationships earlier in the previous pasukim, they clarified it. So that was not necessarily to darshan it, to explain this out. So Rashi concludes that this discusses a new case. The case over here would be the Na'ara Me'orasa. So since we find the father and the husband are mentioned together here inside this term, inside this pasuk, we must conclude that they partner in this case. So they both have some sort of share to it. And that's his opinion. And then we're going to see the Ran is going to have another opinion on this, which very much you should look into the daf yourselves and see what it says. And the Ritz is also going to quote the Shita Mekubetzet. And he's going to approach on the concluding words of Binorea Bet Aviha. And ask, why would the Torah limit the case to a situation where she is Na'ara in her father's house? And he concludes that this is pointing out to a unique case where the married woman is still perceived as being in her father's house, the case of the Na'ara Me'orasa. This is something I learned from the great Rabbi Edin Stein-Salz, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, great Rabbi. And guys, have an awesome Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom Urach. Bye.